Hi, I'm Jason Atherton, the executive chef and owner of 22 Ships here in Hong Kong, and also the Michelin star restaurant Pollen Street Social in London.
My name is Jonay Armas, and I'm the chef here at the Principal.
And yeah, we hit it off. So chef's doing a series of chef dinners here. He asked would I like to take part, and I said I'd love to. The evolution of Spanish cuisine in the last 20 years has been formidable. You know, it's always been very much French dominated, our industry. So to eat at a good restaurant, it was always French cuisine, you know, or French technique, or French this, or French that. You know, and so pretty much France dominated world cuisine. And all of a sudden, you know, people like Ferran Adrià, Juan Briazac, all these, Martin Berasategui, all these chefs came out with this new progressive Spanish cuisine, which completely changed the world, you know? Now we go to like tapas bars. We want to know about good jamon. We want to know about, you know, even the different types of paella all over Spain. We're interested. Whereas before, no one cared.
More important, I mean, of course, the Spanish heritage or culture about food has always been very, very strong and very diverse. I think for the last 20 years, there is a group of chefs who really start to show a bit more about the food, and not only the Spanish food, but they also start to, let's say, globalize a little bit more.
What Spain did, it freed up a lot of chefs for creativity. Spain's a very creative place. You know, you only have to look at history. It tells you, you know, Dali, you know, all these people have come out of Spain who are so creative. You know, when you go to Barcelona, there's so many creative people there. So it's natural for the food to be very creative. If you went to train in Spain, you came back with freedom, you know? And then we had this cuisine. If you look at the top chefs now coming out of the UK, they're heavily influenced by the Spanish chefs because it gives you freedom. You know, the biggest thing I learned at LB was literally that, freedom. Question everything you do.
Probably before there was too many rules, you know, about cooking, and I think that's the most important, no? To break all the rules and at least try everything, you know.
Yeah, I mean, even if something doesn't work,
it
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't matter because you might try 100 things. As long as one thing works and it's great, then it's worth trying 100 things. And like you say, rules are meant to be broken in all walks of life. So why not cuisine, right? When you're on an island, you know, and you have to ship a lot in, you've just got to be conscious of food miles, obviously, but at the same time, it is what it is, you know. I'm a chef. I want to use the best ingredients I possibly can. I'm not going to use a substandard ingredient because the farmer grows it next door to the restaurant. It's still got to be the best. So if I have to get it from another farm 100 miles away, then that's what I'll do because my job is to deliver food of the high standard for the customer.
Going to a point for the ingredients, as he say, I mean, I think it's, for one side, for me, it's been pretty amazing about being in Hong Kong and be able to, let's say, get any ingredient from Japan, Australia. To source locally is a bit more complicated, you know, when you search for best quality day after day.
Mainland China is now starting to embrace things like organic farms, organic fruit, vegetables. You know, when I opened up a restaurant in Shanghai in 2010, table number 1, you know, beef was beef. And like, yeah, but like, you know, beef back home, we have like 20 different varieties of cow, from dairy cows to whatever, right? And all the meat and the texture is different. So trying to speak in Shanghai with farmers like that, they're like, no, beef's beef, right? Do you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, but if you kill it at a younger age, we can do this with the meat. If you let it age a little bit longer, we can do this with the meat. And they're just not interested. But now, you know, thankfully, 4 or 5 years on, we're now, sorry, 4 years on, we're getting to a point where, you know, there's a couple of farmers just north of Hong Kong and a couple of farmers up there who are now growing organic vegetables. So for the new restaurant we're doing in Hollywood Road, we want to try and do a farm-to-table concept with these guys. For me, that's really exciting because it's how we work in the UK.
I guess this is something very new in Hong Kong. I know about few farms, but yeah, I think the most complicated, like he says, is not to be able to get the same product with the same consistency for a while. You know? I mean, at the end, when you have to work on a la carte, I mean, or either it's something that you are open to receive any vegetables and work with that from scratch, or I mean, I guess for me, the restaurant is a bit more complicated. No?
Because the holy grail is consistency. In restaurants, you have to be consistent. Otherwise, guests don't come back. I mean, putting aside sustainability, putting aside creativity, putting aside all of that, if your restaurant is not consistent, every single time a guest comes in, you'll be empty in 6 months. The reason why I get Hokkaido milk from Japan is because it's so good. It might be expensive, but it's so good. And every single time it's perfect. So when we make our desserts of it, they taste so nice. And then the guests come back. You know, but if I can get a dairy farmer in Hong Kong who can produce the same standard of milk, of course I'm going to use it, 100%. But we've got to get to that point, you know? All of Asia, everyone is crazy about food. And as long as it's good, people accept it. It's as simple as that, whether it's Italian, Mexican, Japanese, doesn't matter, English. People love food, right? You speak to an Asian person at breakfast, they're asking you what you're having for lunch. You go for lunch, they're asking you what you're having for dinner, right? Back home, that's not the case. There's only a certain amount of British people think like that. A lot of people just think it's just food. So we're still trying to get over that, you know, and it's going to be maybe not my generation, but the next 2 or 3 generations will get to that point. But here in Asia, it already exists, and it existed, you know, 100 years ago. Everyone's crazy about food.
I think one of the things that impressed me was the culture and how people is passionate about food, you know, all the cultural street food and everything. I think that's something we don't have, you know. In Spain we have a lot of bar, a lot of tapas, you know, but yeah, maybe people just take as a food, you know. I think in Asia people is more passionate about it.
But in Spain, you guys are lucky that you still have, food is still very integral to the family life.
Yeah, family, family
Where
wise.
in Britain, we've lost that.
Yeah.
We lost that maybe 50, 60 years ago.
I guess Italian or Spanish, I mean, still, moms still spend many hours a day, you know, cooking for family. So, yeah.
And the UK, we don't. You know, it's very, very sad. It's very, very sad that that food is a moment in time of a day where you eat to survive. And I find that very sad. Where in Spain, Italy, Asia, even in France, it's a part of the day where the family can come together, all friends can come together and share what, yes, it is subsistence to get to survive, but it's also a celebration.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty of food.